Great to see everyone. After going back, evaluating the film from the game, a lot of good things. I mean, a lot of young players got their first taste of college football in some big situations. Thought we played well in a lot of different situations. I mean, there's obviously some things we got to clean up, and like in any first game, you see things that happen. But from the standpoint of what I loved is, very few penalties in the game, which I think is important. Early in the season, we had three innings too many, but not a lot of penalties. Unfortunately, we had the 2 turnovers, which was disappointing. But substitution for we have one thing on defense later that we had guy didn't get off the field, but other than that, communications, getting personnel on and off the field, timing, clock. We had one time we called timeout, and Kellen actually would have got it off, but I called time anyway as it ran down. I wasn't sure if he saw it, but he did, and he knew it. So, managing the game, those types of things you don't really realize till you get into it. I think organization, our kids did a good job of communicating and doing those things. I thought we played hard in the game. I thought we were physical. I thought we showed defensively did a great job controlling the line of scrimmage against the run, of course. Created the turnovers. The turnovers are great to see. Played the ball very well. It was thrown. Great on third down, got off the field. Offensively, they got the one drive at the end. Offensively, had good balance again, running and throwing. Thought Kellen was extremely sharp on his decision making, his accuracy, where he was going with the football, why he was going, getting back to a lot of backside reads, third and fourth reads on plays. Even when he got pressure, finding outlets on the side that were built in, and was very accurate with the football. Controlled our whole offense extremely well, knowing everything to do with protection calls, run checks. I mean, that thing, I thought our backs did a good job. So Jay Sean ran the football well. Did a good job catching it, picking up blitzes, those things. Isaiah got his first taste, did a nice job. Our young tight ends got some good playing time. Receivers, 1 and 2, and those guys all made plays and did the things they had to do. Again, like on defense, I pleased with Miles in the secondary, those guys making the plays on the ball. I thought our linebackers did a really good job. It was great to see Hines back out there playing after a year off. Thought he played well inside, especially the first game, with the nerves and the jitters to go back and all that stuff when you're in those piles. But again, Buddy did a good job. Matabuke was really good up front in those things. I thought special teams was very solid. I thought Seth was excellent. He kicked the ball where he's supposed to kick it, hit his kicks. Man was excellent. Hit punts good, had 2 inside the 20. One being a sky kick, which he did a really good job of. Our return teams did a great job. Paul did a good job on some really short kicks of getting to the ball and catching it, not letting it hit the ground and roll. I think that's very important in field position. I thought we did a good job there. The one kickoff return we had, we were close to coming out and did a real, but got those things managed for a first game. I was pleased. I mean, there's still a lot of room that we can improve on. Guess we had a couple of turnovers. They got to drive late. There's a lot of little things inside that we got to, that always help that you can't see you don't see from the stands or things, even sometimes from the sideline, that you just making sure communication, some of your errors and why they get communicated, and ask the kids as it went on, as you see it on film, what they thought or what the communication was, get those errors cleared up, and making sure you're communicating all the way across the board, offense and defensively, where all guys know what the next guy's doing, and your communication. Those things are never ending. Those go all the time, and of course it'll be a much harder challenge going on the road this week and playing in a hostile environment where the noise is a lot different. But for the first part, I was very pleased with our game. Our staff did a really good job of getting our guys ready to play, and as I say, everybody kept saying, well, you're looking toward Clemson. We didn't practice toward Clemson, didn't think of Clemson. We worked on Texas State, and that was it. Now we're working on Clemson. So getting ready for a great game with them. There's an outstanding football team. Davo's done a tremendous job. They're all three. Anybody say, where's their strength at? When you win national championship and you're ranked number 1, you're good in all 3 phases. Offensively, extremely talented quarterback. And we all know where it starts, but those wideouts are tremendously talented. Higgins and Ross and the whole crew out there, the young guys they brought in, and last, and you can just see those guys and what they do. Offensive line is very good. Replace some guys up front, but even bigger and stronger. Etning, I believe is how you say it. I mean, he's a very, very talented running back. He's big, he's strong, he's direct, fast. Can run with power, speed, catches the ball well. Of course, Trevor is excellent. I mean, a very, very talented team, very well coached. Defensively, lost a lot of D linemen, but at the same time, it looks like it's just the same bodies in different numbers. I mean, guys running around making plays. They were dominant up front. They can rush the passer. They can play the run. The backers are active. Brent does a great job on defense. Multiple looks, different schemes, blitzes. Terrell leads the secondary back there on 19 and 12. Those guys are all very talented. They do a great job. They play the ball. They're used to playing it. They see it in practice. Special teams, they're talented returners. They're kickers. I mean, really kickoff guys, and kicking a mile, the field goal guy. The punter's excellent. So, I mean, you have a heck of a team. This is one heck of a team. It's talented. It's well coached. It's confident. and they're playing at home. So it's going to be a heck of a challenge for us, and hopefully something that our kids are up for and look forward to going to play. Question?
Then down front, Brent.
Yeah, well, you talked a lot in the offseason about the opportunity that this schedule presents.
Mm-hmm.
How big of an opportunity is this one as you try to elevate your program?
Well, I mean, it's the next opportunity. I think that's the thing you got to understand. There's a lot of big, like you say, there's a lot of them on here, but this is the next one, the one you got to focus on. They're the defending national champs, #1 in the country, and you have to go in and play it like that. But before you play the game, you have to prepare, and I think that's what we have to do a great job of preparing during the week and not being ready to play until it's time to play, but understanding how to prepare. But it's a heck of an opportunity. That's what you need.
Down front, Brent, and then to the left, Cease.
Late Thursday night, you said you wanted to look at the video closer in terms of your offensive line, particularly
Played very solidly.
Center, right guard in particular.
Played solidly, did a real nice job. Some of the things that were miscommunications, like I said, getting some of the runs, getting communicated out to our receivers and tight ends of who they're blocking, which clogged some things up at times. As the line would block, and did some real good things. They missed a couple blocks as always. Center played well, right guard did a good job. I mean, and sometimes they're moving in the first game. Kenyon a couple times on down blocks, he overset some things, let things come back outside him, but he's so athletic and can get back to it. But his knowledge of what was going on always could tell you what was happening, what calls he had, things like that. And like I say, some of those things we got to get communicated to our receivers and tight ends, making sure that we're all on the same page on the angles in which way, because that clogged some of the runs outside up, and we missed a couple inside, but a very solid performance for the first time. And the same thing happened in the past. We got just communicated on the call, turn the guy loose and know exactly what happened, and they could explain it and fix it. So, I mean, not perfect by any means, and we got to get much better. I think you're always looking to get better up front, but hey, just a solid day.
Go to the left, Cease, then Olin, and Chuck.
What about your team? First time to venue of Clemson, you've been there. What's different about that venue, and an update on Renfro?
The venue, I mean, it's one of the best places to play in college football. It's Death Valley. Be loud. Be a lot of orange. If you like orange, there'll be a lot of that. There'll be a lot of happy fans. They're a great fan base, tremendous fan base, classy fan base, but very loud and hard to go play. And it's unlike in our league, it's like in our league. It's like the venues you're going to play in our league, and with it's 80-some or 90,000, whatever it is, and they love their ball and they're very good and they're passionate about it. That's for sure. And it's one of the places you being able to say you played there when you're a player, and one of the venues you've been able to coach in. You definitely want to have been to Death Valley. It's a great atmosphere in college. And Renfro will not play this game. He should be suspended one more game.
Right side, Olin, and then to the left, Chuck Carlton.
And Jimbo, we all remember just a huge performance that Kellen had last year. Will he have to have a similar performance for you?
He'll have to play well, but everybody's going to have to play well. And then one of the reasons he had that performance is guys around him played well. They made catches, they made runs, they blocked, they did those things, and he made the plays. But Kellen's a leader. He needs to play well for us in decisions that are being made. Make great decisions, be accurate with the ball, play the play that's there, play smart, play tough, play aggressive. And that's what he'll have to do. And if the numbers come, they come. If they don't, they don't. But I mean, it's how he's got to play, and the guys around him got to play. But I mean, yes, your quarterback has to play well. There's no doubt.
Go to the left, Chuck, and then to the right, Mike.
Well, that's every week.
To the back, Travis.
What are the challenges of trying to take away at least one aspect of Clemson's offense when you do have Lawrence and all those receivers, plus you have Eddie in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you say you want to take all the wideouts away, they run the football, and they're very good up front too. They protect and they can run. They're physical. You say, okay, I want to double this guy. Well, you leave another guy wide open. I mean, that's the thing. And how you match it up, where you get it at. I think trying to create different looks at different times. I think you can't do the same thing. Trevor's too smart. They're too good at coaches. You're going to have to keep your looks multiple. You're going to have to disguise things. You're going to have to do things as best you can, but at the same time, you can't do it to where you're out of position to make plays. And like I say, they're so challenging because sometimes most teams have one dominant wideout where he's just so explosive. They got 3, 4, 5 of those guys. Their backs are the same way. So it's an extremely tough challenge. It's going to be a big burden, on everybody says our secondary, but your defensive front, it's your linebackers, because at different times when you do different things, there's going to be pressure put on different guys within your, on your defense, and they're challenging as anybody. And then you have a quarterback who can really throw it and is as good as Trevor is. And the thing about Trevor too that I think people lose sight of too, he's very athletic. You start thinking, well, he's just a big pocket guy, and you see this guy can run. He can create plays with his legs too, and keep plays alive or create plays. And they're an extremely dangerous team, and it'll be a huge challenge for us, no doubt.
Right side, Mike, and then to the back, Tyler.
I was going to ask the same question, so I'll throw a change up here. The play Kellen made in the first quarter where he rolled out to his left to Jamont to the 1 yard line, that as good of a play as you've seen from Kellen?
I mean, it's one. I mean, he's made a lot of those in practice recently. Really has. And you know, there's two things that play. One, Kellen's vision of knowing where somebody comes when you get pressured. We talk about things. If you get flushed to the left, this is where your eyes need to go. This is, because that's your look you have to get to. But the other thing is, on offense, when you talk about it, a lot of guys don't do this. Till you get 5 full speed routes, you're never a very good offense. And what I mean by that, guys on the backside say, I don't ever get this ball, and they run around about half speed, 3/4 speed. That's a tremendous. That play was as much a tribute to 2 as it was 11. The play by 11 was tremendous. He felt pressure. He come out. He saw it. The throw he made and the type of throw he made was that was big time. That was a tremendous play. But at the same time, in that look, possibly the ball may not have went there unless the pressure went there. Jamon, runs that route full speed no matter what the situation is, because you want the defense to know when you're getting it, when you're not getting it, and got rewarded for being selfless in a play, and it was really good. Because in our offense, we have the ability to throw to all 5 guys if Kellen sees the match up at a relationship he wants.
The very back behind the lines, Coach Tyler, and down front, Brent.
How important is the run game going to be in order to keep Trevor and that offense off the field and continue the success you saw last week?
Well, I think 2 things: keep their offense off the field, and to keep those D linemen from laying their ears back. I mean, because you become one-dimensional against a team that's that talented against their defense, you get eat alive. I mean, you have to have balance, you have to have physicality, you have to make them feel things to be able to do that. And then, like I say, if you can control the football, that's just less time those guys are on the field. There's no doubt. I mean, it's not only going to help us; it's going to help us as a team. That's just all part of being able to run the football is always going to be a part of our game, and try to be a part of our game, and it's definitely going to be a part because they do a great job of stopping it. So, and they do a great job themselves. You talk about the numbers last week; they ran for 400 yards. They threw it a bunch, but they ran for 400. So they're very physical and understand that too. So it is about controlling the clock and controlling your opponent. When you're able to run the football, it's a great asset. That's for sure.
Down front, Brent, to the left, Travis.
I'll have a follow-up as well too, but I wanted to ask you about refrigerator Bobby Brown and kind of the idea of using him in that situation. Is that you go ahead and show it to give Clemson something else to prepare for?
I want to show it so he makes sure he can do it. Listen, I don't mean that in a bad way. All that hiding stuff, I'm a guy I don't believe in hiding anything. I believe in doing what you do, doing it well, and being able to execute it under pressure and handling it. And he had never done it, so let's make sure he can do it, and that's what was required in that game. I mean, we do what we do, and he did a great job on the plays, and the plays he was in there. He got on the touchdown run. As I say, they were slanting and angling to him, so we ran away. I mean, there's different looks and things you do, but he did very, very good job. And we got some other guys we can put in there also.
You like to travel 2 days prior. Is it something in a situation with this, you just kind of keep an eye on what's going on out in the?
Yeah, you do. I mean, that's we're on status quo. We're ready to go as we're going to go, unless other things, come into play. Which is, I'll let them decide that. I can't worry. Don't worry about things you can't control or you have no idea about or what the future may have. We'll have an alternative plan if it starts to come to that. And one thing I have been, when I was in Florida, I did run into a few hurricanes, so I've made some plans around those things before. Unfortunately, I hate that because, there's a lot of devastation that goes with those daggone things. My heart, again, our prayers are with everybody in the Bahamas right now, and wherever that thing is going to end up, our hearts and prayers and everything about it. I hope everything turns out well for everybody.
To the left, Travis, then Olin.
Coach, now that you've seen the tape, how does that game, the Texas State game, rank as far as accuracy goes with Kellen, and how important was it in getting that kind of game leading into Clemson?
Well, I think, again, it just reinforces the kind of camp you had and the kind of summer and the spring you had. I mean, it reinforces it is getting, because you worry about all those things. All right, he does it here, he does it here. Does it really translate to the field? A lot of guys can do that, can't never do that. Very much so, I think, from a confidence standpoint, I thought he was excellent. And as I think about it from an accuracy standpoint, it was really good. Like I say, the one interception where he's getting hit, I wish, he's got to miss higher. Got a little flat, and he didn't get to follow through quite like he wanted. But he made some unbelievable throws on some other things where he had those kind of things. So, that's part of it. He'll be the first one to tell you that. But he was extremely accurate, and his decision-making and accuracy. And at the end of the day, that's what quarterbacking comes down to. You can draw all these things up you want. You can say all that other junk you want. You're making the right decisions in the game, going to the right place, and can you hit what the heck? My boy's got a great arm. Well, does he hit it or does he not? Is it catchable? Is it not? I mean, that's what it gets down to. And there's reasons for everything, but he did a great job of those things.
Right side, Olin, to the left, Zach.
Yeah, we're here, Jimbo.
Yes, sir.
Some of you guys earlier today were making some pretty bold statements about winning the game and all, and I know that sometimes there are coaches.
Who did that?
Well, just comes from your guys.
Well, who did that?
Okay.
Jared Hawker said there will be an upset on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And
Jared better play well. I mean, it's great, and that's great to have confidence. That doesn't need to be said. I mean, you always, and there's not a game you don't ever. I mean, so there was one guy that said that.
Well, I think Jamon was very confident as well.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being, if you're not confident that you're going to be successful, yes, but we understand the opponent, and that comes from respect for them. I mean, you have a great respect for them, but also you have to go compete. You expect, anytime you line up to play, you expect to be successful, but you understand it's a tall task. We need to play well to have that success, and that's what we have to do. We have to practice well, prepare well to be able to do those things. I'm glad they're confident, but that what Jerry said doesn't need to be said. I mean, that's great, but at the same time, you got to play well. And after the first 2 hits of the game, that stuff all goes away anyway. You know what I mean? We're going to play, but they have a great team. I'm sure they're confident in themselves. Our guys believe in what we do, and that's why you do what you do. They have a great team.
Front left, Zach, then to the right, Wendell.
Jimbo, how much can you go off of last year's game? I mean, there's been so many changes. Obviously, Trevor hadn't quite gotten to that point yet, being the starting quarterback. So how much can you take away from the time you played him last year?
Both. All of our guys are in the system more now. Kellen isn't the same player he was then. He wasn't the same player in that game that he was at the end of the year. All of our guys. I mean, but Lawrence is not the same for them. You learn from it, but it's 2 different teams and 2 different environments and 2 different atmospheres, and you got to go play that game again. Now, you may learn schematically what they like to do to things or what you like to do to them, and we can get things off of it, and there's going to be parts of that both of us are always going to do because that's who we are. You know what I'm saying? And the familiarity of playing each other. There'll be wrinkles in the game that both sides puts in, I'm sure. And as a player standpoint, at least you know your opponent, what he can and cannot do or that you're capable of doing. And now the challenge is to go do it again. I think that's one of the great things about when you play teams over and over and over and over again, that you learn each other, you know each other, and those games become different because you do know each other and the types of guys and schemes in which you do. So I think that's one of the great things of this game, and and last year it was one of the great games in college football, and we had an opportunity, and they made one more play than we did. So hopefully we can go over and make one more play than they do. But you can learn from it, but you also got to understand that the game has nothing to do with this year's team. Each team is different, and you have to play the game.
Right front, Wendell, and then to the left, Suzanne.
Texas State did get a few pressures on Kellen, and he still, made some plays in those situations. How and why has he been able to develop that, kind of knowledge of, okay, I'm going to hang in here and make this throw, or I got to bail out?
2 things. I think one is knowledge of what he's doing and where everybody's at and how they come at him and where he would like to go with the ball and when he gets pressure where he's got to go with the ball. I think 2 is experience and confidence. At the end of the day, you can say all that you want till you do it and you've done it and it's become routine and it naturally happens. And then, I've done it and I say, something, I can do this. And then I think it's all those things combined. And I think great preparation. I think his ability to prepare and understand how to not just look at film, but watch film, study film, know what our game plan is, and be able to then take that blueprint of what we do and apply it into what they are on defense and where the holes or where the one-on-one matchups comes. And even if they give you a look that we haven't seen, and why? Because that's our big thing is you got to know why you're throwing them. And we teach conceptually, so you have an answer for things, even if it's something that we haven't seen, and it gives you the best chance. And I think he's doing a great job of preparing himself that way and understanding the game. Kellen's not only a very tough, competitive young man, he's also a very intelligent young man.
To the left, Suzanne, and then Gabe, you'll wrap us up.
I'm just curious on 2 aspects. I'm assuming Clemson was your biggest rival at your last job.
They were a huge one in the conference, but you got Florida and Miami. We had 3 rivals. But that game for all the years, whoever won that game won the league, and sometimes won the national championship or were playing for it in the playoffs. It became a huge rivalry, no doubt. But you also had Florida and Miami, so.
Okay, but is it changed?
In other words, I don't like orange.
Okay. Another question I was going to ask you: can you realistically tell your team to have nameless, faceless opponents, and this week is just another game?
Yes.
They'll be.
Yes.
Okay.
Because people say, now I've heard people ask that about Tiger Woods. They say, it's a pressure putt. How did he and Jack Nicklaus make that putt? Because it's for all the money. They know they're going to win. No, they're trying to make a putt. It's when you learn to block out the clutter. Because you got to learn in the game of football. You know who your opponent is, and the environment and atmosphere will take care of itself. But you have to control yourself. All the great opponents don't look for external motivation. You got to have it within yourself. You know what I'm saying? You are who you are and what you do each day. And if you're only getting motivated to play certain people, you're never going to win a championship. You have to drive from yourself, and your competition has to come from within. Now, you're a competitor, you have to take your game up and all that, but I can't control what Clemson does. We have to control how we think, how we play, And then their level of play, you got to match, and as a competitor, you got to keep going up. There's no doubt. And the level of competition has went up. But if you sit and worry about that all the time and anything, and I mean that, it's like how does certain golfers play great in majors than the others? You know what I mean? Or how does certain people handle? Why does Tom Brady play so good in big games? It's not his opponent, it's himself. Why was Michael Jordan Michael Jordan? I mean, because it was about himself. He never let the external things affect him. He knew in himself. And I know that's hard to grasp sometimes. You say it's a big game, but listen, they're all big games. I can say lose one. Lose last week. How big a game would that have been? You know what I'm saying? And the only way you're going to get better is to look at yourself in the mirror and quit worrying about the opponent.
Okay, you'll wrap this up.
Now, the same way to answer, let's say your question, that is a learned behavior. I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe that's a learned behavior that you have to learn, and you have to, when they're 18, they look at me, yeah, same way you did. Yeah. Is that? No, but I mean, what I'm saying like that, it's hard to grasp, and it was for me as a coach and was for me as a player too. But it's the truth. That's the only way you can ever survive in this business and go. You have to play to your standards and what your standards are.
All right, Gabe.
What'd you see in the opener from Elijah Blades over there in that boundary? How confident are you going into this one?
Thought he played really well. Thought he adjusted well to the college game. He's very talented, gifted. I thought he had a really good football game. I really do. I mean, and he'll be challenged, but we like a lot. I think he's a really, really, really good player. I really do.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.